What's up, YouTube? This video is my top 5 button locks, and some of you might have noticed that these are not button locks, but um, just examples of things that have fidget factor. So, like anyone who's a knife person, you're lying on the couch, you're probably playing with a knife, you just play around with it, and you just open and close it and open and close it. And any knife that makes that really simple to do has fidget factor, right? So these pretty much are button locks. These are both Spyderco Smocks, just with different scales on them. These are actually compression locks, but they've been altered to have a button that pushes the compression lock, which gives them, a lot more fidget factor, because those of you who know, with a compression lock, you would have to move the compression. It's almost like a liner lock, but on the back end. So you have to push it with your finger. Whereas this, you just press the button. So yeah, just an example of other things that do have fidget factor. But moving on to actual button locks. So this isn't actually a top 5. It's a top 6 because I couldn't narrow it down. But these are my favorite. It's no particular order, but I guess I'm going by size from smallest to largest. So first one is the Kaiser Hiccup. It's in 154 cm. Blade length is, or rather at least cutting edge is 3 inches. The scales are paper micarta. This is a great feeling, smaller end kind of budget knife. I think this was like 100 and something bucks. Great little backup knife. The button is pretty smooth. There's a little bit of button stick, but I haven't carried this knife a ton, so I think it'll work itself out. That actually goes for a lot of these knives. A lot of my button locks, I kind of got around the same time for the most part, so I haven't had a lot of I haven't carried them a ton. I haven't opened and shut them a ton. So some of them do have a little bit of lock stick, but from what I can tell from other reviewers and other knife people, a lot of it seems to work itself out. The metal grinds itself down and it starts to feel a lot smoother. This particular button lock, I don't know if the microphone can make it out, but it's got this beautiful little like ting sound to it. I'll shut up for a second. I hope it picks that up. It's a good sound. Anyway, so that's the Kaiser Hiccup in 154 cm. Next up, the CJRB Pyrite in titanium. This is a fantastic knife. This is, if I had to go in order, this would be probably in the top 2. It's definitely got the smoothest action out of all of these. Zero button lock. The button feels just perfect. It's so smooth, it just bounces in and out. This knife has insane fidget factor. It really is a great knife, and the titanium scales are beautiful. I had another one of these knives, this exact knife, that I heat anodized, and I was kind of frustrated with the way that it turned out. So I gave it to a friend of mine, but he seems pretty happy with it. I mean, the Pyrite is an unbeatable knife, and in its simplest form, which I think is just G10 scales, it's definitely a budget knife. This one was over 100, so no longer really a budget knife, but it's definitely worth it. I kind of want to also pick up the stainless steel version of this, which I believe is cheaper, but I really like the look of that. But yeah, this knife is worth every cent. It is a fantastic little workhorse. Next up is the Sencut Crowley. I really like this knife, but this, out of all my button locks, this has the worst button stick out of all of them. I don't know if you can hear that click when I press the button in. Trust me, in hand, this is very sticky. But I love everything else about this knife. It's, oh, I forgot the metal. The pyrite was, what was this again? Oh, it's their AR RPM 9. It's like a native steel to CJRB. But back to the Crowley, and the shape of this knife. I really like the shape of the scales. They're a little narrow, but because of the length, it still fills out the hand enough that you feel secure. Just a great little knife, and the steel on this, it's written in some weird spot. I found it before I started recording. It's D2. Plain old D2, but this is a great knife, guys. The jimping on the flipper this is probably some of the most perfect jimping. I don't know if my camera's gonna pick this up properly. There we go. It's very minute. It almost is like just a subtle little detail, but it's just enough, and it's just enough tackiness and grip for your finger. They did a really good job on the fit and finish of this knife. It's a black micarta scales. And yeah, the Crowley is a great knife. I'm going to try to start carrying these, especially the ones that have the worst example of the button stick, lock stick, to try to work them in a little more. I know they'll all work themselves out, especially this one. I just didn't carry it enough because the lock stick was so significant when I first picked it up that it just kind of frustrated me. Okay, moving on. This is definitely up there as well in my favorites. It's the Civivi Conspirator in black micarta. And the blade steel is Nitro V. I am in love with just simple drop point blades. It is I think my favorite blade shapes are drop point and just a classic slicer. I have a ZT0562 titanium, and that shape of blade is definitely my 1 or 2, and a good drop point is either 1 or 2. I can't really make up my mind between the two, but a good drop point blade is right up there in my favorites. Anyway, this knife didn't have lock stick and seems to have developed some kind of, I don't know, locking. I don't know if I pushed too hard or something, but the locking mechanism has been weird. Although it kind of started around when I took this apart for the first time to clean it. And I feel like it just hasn't been the same since I put it back together. So maybe I should break this thing down, give it a good cleaning, and just try my best to put it back together properly. This knife's, the jimping on this flipper is very similar to that of the Crowley. Again, it seems very subtle, but it is really just almost the perfect amount. It just feels good on your finger. This knife is worth every cent as well. If you've never picked up or held or flipped a Civivi Conspirator, I suggest you check them out because they're definitely one of the best button locks of all time. Ignore the weirdness of this knife closing, because it's some problem that I've created that I'm sure I can rectify. Next up is a knife I just recently obtained. This is the Sencut Serene. Aluminum scales, and great flipper feeling as well. Actually, this one might even be one of the better ones. Next to no button stick with this knife. It's a really good size. It fills your hand really well. The shape, the cutout here feels really nice. It gives you a really secure feel, especially if you've got your thumb on the jimping of the spine of the blade. This knife is absolutely... This has been in my pocket almost every day since I got it. I keep trying to cycle around and carry some other stuff, but this is definitely one of my favorite knives right now. Blade is like... the steel on this. Oh, okay, it's just D2. I thought it was something else. But great little knife here. And last but definitely not least, I don't see a lot online about this knife, but ever since I actually bought a second one of these that I just left in the box. That's how much I liked this when I first got this knife. This is the Kizer Begleiter XL, brown micarta. It's a White Mountain Knives exclusive. The knife steel on this is 154 cm. And the blade on this, I didn't measure the blades of the others. I think I only ever did the hiccup, actually. So we'll just go through these quick and get back to the Begleiter. CJRB Pyrite knife, cutting edge is 3 inches. The Sencut Crowley was 3.5. The Civivi Conspirator was 3 3/8, and the Sencut Serene comes in at 3.5. But the Kizer Begleiter is a 4-inch blade. Okay, this guy is a monster. Did it have button stick? Yeah, this is another one where when I originally got it, it had no button stick. Now it has actually a pretty significant button stick. You can hear it clicking there when I disengage. Hear that? Let's do it one more time. See? But unlike the Crowley, I can feel a grinding when I get that feedback. But with the Begleiter, it's just like there's a small hang up, and then it breaks through. But it definitely, just like many of the others, it'll go away with time. I'm confident of that. But this knife, just a fantastic working knife, good length, good blade shape, brown, I don't know, almost like canvas micarta scales. I'm thinking about dyeing these black. Because I'm not a giant fan of the brown. At first I really liked it, but not so much anymore. I wish the detent on this was a little stiffer so that it came out with a little more authority. But you really have to pull back to get much authority at all with it coming out. But nonetheless, this knife is... the handle is really long, and it just fills the hand out really well. The handle on its own is 5 inches. So it completely fills the hand, and when you're using this knife, you just really feel like just a lot of security. You really, and the jimping extends about almost halfway down the spine of the blade. This knife just feels great in your hand. I'm glad I bought a second one, you know, a backup in case I do something stupid to this knife. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's my favorite button locks. If you've never tried out a button lock, I suggest you you do that. They're kind of a pain to take apart and everything because there's a spring and the button comes right out and all that kind of stuff. But button locks, definitely, the fidget factor is all there. It feels great. It's fun to just mess around with. They're great. They're great little fidget knives, guys. So if you've never had a button lock, you know, you can go. There are tons of budget button locks that are out there. Go give one a try. I promise you, you won't be disappointed, guys. Anyway, have a good one. And, you know, have fun fidgeting with your knives, guys. Take care. Bye.